Hi, my name is Dr. Alexandar Andrich, and today we're going to be talking about sports vision training activities. Disclosure information: I do have a financial relationship through iCarrot and their Benovi platform. Objectives today will be learning the importance of the visual system and its role in peak athletic performance. We also want to have an understanding that vision is a learned skill and it's something that can be enhanced. That's a common misconception amongst a lot of people. Attendees will also be able to see the latest technology in sports vision training, and we'll go over some videos. So sports are important to me because my wife and I met. We were both ski racers at Ohio State, and we have this competitive nature in us. My wife Patty was a elite gymnast, and I played volleyball in college. So that competitive nature of being in sports kind of carries through in optometry and the sports vision training that we do. So currently in my office, I work as a vision coach with Cleveland Monsters of the American Hockey League, Cleveland Gladiators in the Arena Football League, and also the Cleveland Indians baseball team. In 2016, the Cleveland Monsters won the Calder Cup championship. It was a great opportunity to work with the players and especially the goalies and some of the other players on the team on their visual skills, and then to see the playoff victories, and then ultimately the championship was a great feeling. Okay, I have a question for everyone. How long does it take for a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to get from the pitcher's hand to the batting zone? Well, the answer is that it reaches home plate in about 0.43 seconds, so this is a little under half a second. The ball travels 60 feet 6 inches, so this is a standard distance in Major League Baseball from the pitching mound to home plate. About 12 feet after it's released from the pitcher's hand, the batter will actually pick up fixation on the ball. And then about 30 feet after it's released from the pitcher's hand, the batter decides if the ball is hittable or not. If it's hittable, they've got to start their swing at about 25 to 30 feet in front of home plate. And the actual swing takes about 2/10 of a second. So this really leaves only 2/10 of a second to decide whether or not to hit the ball. And by the way, if you blink, a blink lasts about 0.3 to 0.4 seconds, milliseconds. So this will equate to 48 feet. So can't blink while you're in the process of hitting a baseball. So if we ask ourselves, what exactly is sports vision? I like the definition from Dr. Graham Erickson, where he says, sports vision can be defined as vision care and consultation designed to protect, correct, and enhance vision to make sports and athletic competition safe, enjoyable, and more successful. This is a great quote because it really covers all of the areas in sports vision, but a key component to this quote is that last sentence, the last two words, more successful. The whole point of playing sports, besides having fun and being safe, is to be successful. So through today's lecture, we're going to talk about some ways to use our visual system to an advantage to make sports more successful. Now I'd like to go over some principles of sports vision. Maximum athletic performance relies heavily on maximum visual skills. An athlete will gain a competitive advantage with sports vision techniques. We know this is true since sports vision became more and more prominent in the 80s and 90s, especially with some of the Olympic athletes that were doing some sports vision training techniques in the 90s. Vision guides our motor movements, telling us critical information about where and when on the field. So as an example, when you're on the soccer field and you have to kick the soccer ball, the visual system will tell you what kind of force to use to kick the ball to get to your player that you're trying to get the ball to. Oftentimes our visual system will only have seconds or split seconds to perform its duties. And another key component is that we have to have good integration of sensory data from our visual, vestibular, and proprioceptive systems. If we break up sports vision into multiple subcategories, I've listed for you here all the different categories that sports vision currently has. So visual skill performance screening and testing. This is really the evaluation process and gathering data on what baseline skills are like. Visual skill task analysis. This component of sports vision is where, as the eye care provider, the optometrist, you're taking a look at the visual skills needed for that particular skill. You don't have to be an expert in that sport, but you do need to know how the visual system is being used at that particular moment for that particular position or player. The visual skill enhancement is the area that we're going to talk about today. So this is the part that's really fun and interesting and that athletes enjoy the most, the actual training of the visual skills. Vision rehabilitation has become a component of sports vision, especially now in the last 10-15 years with more and more awareness of concussions. Refractive status, ocular health, so obviously our athletes have to be seeing clearly, need to have healthy eyes. Eye protection, lenses, special tints, filters, those are all key components of sports vision. And then another big area that I have a lot of interest in is research. It's really important to have research to back up all of the things that we do. As I mentioned earlier, vision is a learned skill. So vision development begins at birth and visual skills are learned. So we have, as newborns, we have all the structures necessary to see, but we haven't quite learned how to use them yet. So the muscles are attached to the eyes, but the ability to use those muscles to move them smoothly and accurately, that software hasn't been written yet. So as time moves along for development, we develop finer and finer skills and more refined abilities with our visual system. So as proper development occurs, our visual skills will develop to normal levels. Now, when we work with athletes, they can train their visual systems to perform at the highest levels. When we talk about general training principles, I really like this graph because it kind of gives us a big picture of where sports vision falls in terms of vision training. So the red line is our baseline visual skills. So these are average visual skills. When we look at the blue line with the arrows, that's our general vision therapy or vision training graph. So a lot of kids or even adults come in for vision therapy and they're well below the baseline. We work our way up to baseline and even above baseline. The sports vision skills and where our athletes reside is at that upper end of the graph, and these are the elite visual skills of our vision system. So consequently, the activities don't have to be vastly different than our regular vision training activities. We basically load them and raise the bar to make it more difficult. So it's the level of performance that's different. We have different ways that we load the activities with balance, with prisms, and make it much more challenging. So the proper loading of the activities is the key to doing good sports vision training. This pyramid diagram of visual skills is a great visual on how our visual skills work in terms of visual hardware at the bottom of the pyramid and visual software at the top of the pyramid. So if we take a look at the bottom of the pyramid, we'll see our visual hardware components are ocular health, eye teaming, refractive status, contrast, static visual acuity. And then as we move up the graph, we'll see dynamic visual acuity, vergence and accommodation, stereopsis. And then we get into more complex skills, eye, hand, foot preference, eye-body coordination, eye-hand coordination, our oculomotor functioning, pursuits and saccades. Then we get into more cognitive speed of recognition, perception span, our visual reaction time. Vision and balance, visual anticipation are higher up on the graph. And then one of our key visual skills is peripheral vision integration. So that's a balance between central and peripheral vision. And at the top of the pyramid is visualization. Almost all elite athletes use some form of visualization during their activities on the field or pre-race type of setup.